Hi, my name is Chris. Today I'll be doing Leetcode problem number 118, Pascal's triangle. This is considered an easy problem. All right, so given an integer num rows, return the first num rows of Pascal's triangle. In Pascal's triangle, each number is the sum of the two numbers directly above it is shown. Right. So if we have one row, it's just going to be 1. 2 rows, we got 1 and 1. And then it starts to kind of work its magic where this row here, we always see 1 at the corners, but you've got 1 plus 1 equals 2, 1 plus 2 equals 3, 2 plus 1 equals 3, 1 plus 3 equals 4, 3 plus 3 equals 6, 3 plus 1 equals 4, right? So that's with num rows 5, and our output would look like this. So if there would be num row 6, for example, you would have 6 plus 4 is 10, 6 plus 4 is 10, 4 plus 1 is 5, 4 plus 1 is 5, so you would have 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1, right? Okay, let's go over to CodePen to work this out. I'm going to grab this. We're going to use this example. Comment that out. All right. Let's just create a function. We'll call it func. For now, we're just going to return num rows. And let's select the console so we can see what's going on here. All right, now we should see num rows in the console. And we do. Cool. Okay, so like I said, your first 2 rows are always going to be this and that, and we can even see in this example, if num row is 1, we just return 1. If it were 2, we would return that and that, right? So what we can do is we can kind of take care of that right away. So, this is always going to be our starting point. And if num rows is greater than 2, this is always going to be our first 2 arrays in our array. So what we can do is we can define result. And then we can use a ternary operator to say if num's rows equals 1, then our result is going to be, whoops, not that, we use straight brackets. It's going to be that. Else, result is going to be 1, and then 1, 1. Okay, and so before we do any logic to, fill out the remaining rows, what we can do here is we can say if num rows is less than 3, we can just immediately return result. We gotta return it, sorry. So return result. Cool. All right, so we can test this out. Num rows 1. Okay, hold on. So there's something wrong here. Num zeros, there's your problem. Okay, so we get 1. And let's do 2. Cool. All right, so what we need to do is we need to create a for loop. And basically we're creating 2 for loops. The first one, we're going to do a nested loop. The first for loop is going to kind of establish how many arrays we're going to push into result, right? Then the second for loop, what it's going to do is it's going to target, so let's say so we have 5 numbers, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to target this array here, And then our second for loop, we're going to set the index to 0. And then we're going to set a second index to 0 plus 1. And we're simply going to, well, before we do that, we're going to create a variable, an array variable called storage. And storage is just going to have a 1 with it, because we're always going to start with a 1, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to loop, and we're going to have this element is targeted by the index. This is targeted by the second index. We're going to go pointer. We add them together and we push it into storage, right? That'll give us 1, 2, right? Then at the end of that inner loop, we can go ahead and push another 1 into there and then push that storage into result, right? So then when we come to try to calculate array 4, same thing's going to happen. We're going to target this array, or we're going to use this array to calculate that. First thing we're going to, storage is going to start off with a 1 in it, and then we can just say 1 plus 2 is going to equal 3. We push in, so it's going to start with 1, we're pushing 3, and then we increment those 2 and say 2 plus 1 equals 3. And then we're done with the, loop, the inner loop. We push 1 into storage, and then we push storage into our result. Then we get to our final array, right? We're going to target this one now. We're going to start with a 1. Then we're going to say 1 plus 3 equals 4. 3 plus 3 equals 6. 3 plus 1 equals 4. Then we're done with the loop. We push another 1 in there, and then push this storage array into result. And then that will give us our output. Okay. So first thing we need to do is set up that outer loop. Not if, we're going to do. So we're going to say 4. And we're going to just, because we don't need the first 2, 0 and 1, we're going to start at 2. Right? So we're going to say 4, let I equal 2. And I'm going to go ahead and, well, no, we'll leave that in there for now. And then we're going to say, if I is less than numbers, I plus plus. So if we console log that, console.log I, you should see 2, 3, 4. And you know what? Hold on, I did something wrong here. Get rid of that. Right, so we got 2, 3, 4. Cool. Okay, then we need to set up our storage array. So we're going to say let storage equal 1, right? So that's our starting point, because each one of these arrays is going to start with a 1. And then we're going to set up a variable called target array. So target array equals result I, result at I minus 1. Okay. And so yes, that makes sense. Okay, cool. So basically, you know, I is 2, right? So to create this array, the first one we're going to check is this one. It's an index 1. So that's why we need I minus 1. So we want index 1. We want this array, right? And then when the loop jumps to 3, we're going to be calculating this array, but we're going to be using this one. So when it's 3, 0, 1, 2, target array is there. Okay, so now that's all set up. So now I'm gonna comment that out for a second here. So we're gonna say for, this is our inner loop, let j equal 0, and if j is less than target array dot length minus 1, we say j plus plus. Okay, the question, why the minus 1 as opposed to just target dot length? Well, actually, this will make more sense here. Let's see this first. So, excuse me. Create a variable called pointer, and we're going to say pointer equals j plus 1. Okay. So let's say we're calculating this array here, right? And we're looking at this array here. So j is going to equal 0, right? Pointer, it's a start. Pointer is going to equal 1. So we've got j pointer. So we're going to add those together. J is going to increment, and then pointer is going to increment. So we're going to add these two together, and then j and pointer both increment, and then we add these two together. So we don't need j to increment anymore, right? That's why we say length minus 1. All right, then when we get here, we can simply say storage dot push target array j plus target array pointer. All right. Then after this for loop is completed, that means we've gone through the entire array. We're going to push 1 into storage, right? Just like I said, we have the 1 initially. 1 plus 3 is 4. 3 plus 3 is 6. 3 plus 1 is 4. Then we're done with the loop, so we still need another 1. So we got to add that 1 in there. And then the last thing we do is we storage result dot push storage. Okay. And at the end, we don't want to return num rows. We want it to return result. Okay, let's console log that, and let's see how we did. Yep. So we're good. So if I were to put in 6, you know, you would see 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1, right? For that last, there'd be one more array with that, with those values. So let's just look at that. It's not 10, wait a minute. Sorry. 6. Good. Yeah, and so we can keep going with this. I'll do one more. So if we have 7, you have 1, and then 1 plus 5 is 6, so 1 is 6. 5 plus 10 is 15. 10 plus 10 is 20. 10 plus 5 is 16. 5 plus 1 is 6. We add 1, so we have 1, 6, 15, 20, 15, 6, 1, right? So let's look at that real quick. And there you go. Good. All right, so let's copy all of this logic. We're going to go back into Leetcode. I'm going to paste it in here. Let's format it. And let's give it a shot. So we're going to run the code. Pass the test. Let's submit. Great. We've got success. Cool. Well, hopefully you found this video helpful and enjoyable. If you'd like to see more like this, please like and subscribe to my channel. Enjoy your day.